At the precipice of the universe, scientists embark on an unexpected journey. The tale unfolds within a spaceship laboratory, where an abrupt alarm triggers the activation of fire suppression systems. A heated dispute ensues between two colleagues. One accuses the other of losing his sanity. This dispute escalates into a physical altercation, with one of them brandishing a pair of pliers to intimidate his counterpart. Glimpsing outside the ship's porthole, they encounter a peculiar, radiant, round vessel. Simultaneously, aboard a different spacecraft, the clock strikes 6. Lieutenant Colonel Harold Richards, the ship's pilot, awakens and promptly engages in a rigorous exercise routine. Dr. Abe Anderson, his partner, reluctantly rises and prepares coffee, adding a dash of alcohol. Following his workout, Harold records data in a logbook and tends to a container of bees. He also feeds an electric eel residing in an onboard aquarium. As he surveys the infinite darkness through a periscope, their ship, an enigmatic round vessel, absorbs light on one side and produces an eerie, smoky substance on the other. While diligent Harold attends to his responsibilities, Abe indulges in a languid routine, consuming alcohol, donning sunglasses, and watching television. Harold, having completed his tasks, brews a cup of coffee and settles on the couch, shoving aside a heap of alcohol sachets. Richards alerts Anderson that they are nearing their destination, but Abe remains convinced that their mission is futile, feeling they're even more distant from their goal. In silence, Harold departs the room. The next morning, Harold resumes his push-ups and then proceeds to the lab to update data on the bees while Abe sleeps. A mishap occurs as Harold accidentally drops his pen and military tags into the electric eel's aquarium. The eel's contact with the metal items electrocutes Harold, causing a temporary power outage in the ship. Abe awakens, searches for Harold, and discovers his lifeless body. In a panicked frenzy, Abe drapes Harold's body in a sack and drags it to the airlock but hesitates to eject it into space. He ventures to the control room to understand the ship's operation. Abe queries the computer for their distance from Earth and the edge of the universe, seeking answers amidst the chaos. Yet, the computer remains incapable of making this calculation. The ship presses forward into the abyss of the unknown, casting doubt on their journey. Anderson exits the cockpit, only to awaken near the airlock compartment where he fell asleep, missing his friend's exit. As he gets up, an inadvertent nudge on the lever expels the sack containing Harold's lifeless body into the void. Panic consumes Abe as he rushes to the periscope to witness his partner drifting into the cosmic void. With no alternative, he must press on alone. Abe succumbs to sleep again, while turbulent celestial tempests encircle the ship. Abrupt flashes of lightning stir him awake. Gazing through the portholes, he observes a colossal electric stingray coiled around their vessel, sending shivers down his spine. Seeking solace in another alcohol sachet, he collapses to the floor. Upon regaining sobriety, he revisits footage of himself and Harold recorded during their expedition. Abe describes the secondary objective of studying the impact of weightlessness on honeybees, yielding inconclusive results due to the insects' short lives. Harold chimes in, recalling a pinball machine that had broken. The host inquires about their main goal, reaching the universe's edge. Abe's response implies that it might be an extended journey, but they'll know they've arrived when the stars cease to surround them. As the transmission comes to an end, Abe, overwhelmed by despair, fashions a makeshift noose from wires. He places it around his neck, clutching a photograph of his beloved wife, bidding her a poignant mental farewell. Abruptly, the ship experiences a violent jolt, causing Abe to lose his balance and convulse. Struggling, he ascends into the window pod, where he is greeted by an intense white light. Donning his glasses, he eagerly peers into the enigmatic expanse beyond. In a swift, temporal shift, we are transported 13 years back to a conference where Dr. Weatherford addresses an audience, expounding on an imminent space mission with theoretical underpinnings. She spotlights Abe as an exceptional marine biologist, setting the stage for the practical exploration of their theoretical hypotheses. To her elation, amidst the crowd, a dissenting scientist advocates for further scrutiny, while Weatherford counters, deeming the risk justified. Shortly after, Harold, the designated pilot, joins the assembly, sealing their determination. Handshakes and photographs commemorate the significant event. The script then delves into Abe's meticulous preparations for the forthcoming space voyage, highlighting Dr. Weatherford's fascination with the multiverse and her belief in the universe's intricate, imaginative nature. The concept of reaching the universe's ultimate frontier remains shrouded in an enigma, an unfathomable and seemingly impossible realm. Abe's bewilderment escalates, resulting in an abrupt loss of consciousness, prompting the medical team to intervene, attributing his condition to low stress tolerance. Following a training session, Harold returns, offering support and encouragement to Abe. Dr. Weatherford's initial enthusiasm for the mission wanes as Abe suffers another episode of unconsciousness. The storyline transitions back to the spaceship, with a living Harold still navigating the cosmos. He identifies an airlock malfunction and endeavors to manually correct it when the automated waste disposal system fails. Their light banter acknowledges the challenging task at hand. Abe and Harold, equally fervent partners, cherish their time on the spacecraft. However, tension arises as Abe uncovers Harold's breach of protocol, feeding sardines to the eel, despite the associated danger Abe warns of. During the nocturnal hours, Abe records sketches in his notebook and gazes through the periscope, where he glimpses a distant galaxy. Seizing a moment when Harold is preoccupied, Abe accesses a supply case, accidentally spilling jars of sardines. After hastily restoring the contents, he deposits the suitcase in the airlock and ejects it into the cosmos. This covert act safeguards Harold's well-being by putting an end to the risky eel feeding. Satisfied with his mission, Abe proceeds to Harold's control pod. As Harold meticulously navigates the ship, operating a multitude of buttons, Abe strolls in, inquiring about the purpose of these actions given the vessel's autopilot mode. A sudden illumination of a red button on the control panel prompts Harold's swift response, but Abe intervenes, indulging in a playful experiment to see the outcome of inaction. Frustration leads Harold to land a punch on Abe, who merely chuckles, holding back Harold from pressing the button. Ultimately, the ship remains unaffected, prompting Harold to question the value of his duties. When Abe departs, Harold queries the computer about the necessity of button pressing. The following day, Harold confronts Abe about the sardines, leading to a heated altercation. It culminates in Harold tearing up a photo of Abe's wife. A strange sound lures Abe to a room filled with people bidding farewell to the astronauts on their cosmic journey, marking Abe's first encounter with alcohol sachets. The narrative rewinds as Abe examines lifeless bees, discovering an ailing specimen under the microscope. Returning to the windowed chamber, he gazes upon the stars, reflecting on his repetitive daily cycle. The script then jumps forward, encapsulating Abe's routine. Harold, noticing a malfunction with the eel feeder, searches for Abe and finds him in the windowed chamber. Abe laments his unproductive day, and the following day, he attempts to repair the arcade machine, while Harold feeds the eel with sardines. Evening falls, and Harold inquires about the machine's status. Abe conveys his failure but showcases wire-made jewelry. Harold cautions him against recklessness. As Abe admires his creation and a photo of his wife, they venture back in time. On a fresh spaceship day, Harold queries Abe's plans. Anderson reveals his task of tending to the bees for honey extraction. Harold expresses his love for space honey, and Abe proceeds to the lab, where the bees are thriving. He records their data and regulates hive gas flow. Following his work, Abe enters the windowed chamber, greeted by a striking orange-hued cosmos, signifying the journey's outset. Holding his wife's photo up to the glass, he remains captivated. Upon reconvening, Abe and Harold joyfully exchange observations. The ship maintains its course, and the bees are buzzing with vitality. Abe anticipates collecting space honey as soon as the next day. The duo enters the control cabin, with Abe making his maiden voyage into this territory and inquiring about its operations. With confidence, Richards likens steering the ship to piloting a jet ski, albeit in the vast expanse of space. However, an unforeseen event transpires on the ship. In the evening, Harold immerses himself in a still-functioning arcade machine, aiming to set a new high score. His efforts are interrupted by Abe. Simultaneously, the spaceship approaches a colossal orange object. The dawn of a new day heralds Abe's preparation for collecting space honey, while Harold ventures to the pantry for bread. Mysterious flashes punctuate the ship's surroundings. Abe returns to the portholes, where he spots Harold, who seldom frequents the area. Puzzled by Abe's fondness for this spot, Harold learns of his deep appreciation for the beauty of stars and planets. In a somber moment, Harold shares his decision to embark on the mission due to substantial tax benefits for his family, while Abe's motivation stems from a scientific calling. Their conversation unfolds as they ponder the unknown wonders they might encounter, speculating about other realities and distinct universes. Abe engages fervently in breaking records on the arcade machine, and they savor space honey while discussing their families and motivations. Harold captures a photograph of Abe's wife, reflecting on how he could have left her behind. Abe discloses that his wife left him, compelling him to seek solace as far from home as possible, unrelated to scientific curiosity. The narrative takes a twist as the arcade machine malfunctions, drawing Abe's attention. Simultaneously, an alarm reverberates through the ship as the ship's system alerts to a decline in the number of insects in the lab, with all the bees lifelessly falling to the hive's bottom. Throughout the night, Abe wrestles with sleeplessness, thoughts consumed by his wife. At one point, we glimpse two other astronauts seated at a table. The subsequent day finds Harold discovering Abe's notebook adorned with sketches of himself. He inquires about it, prompting Abe to affirm that the drawings portray Harold, still alive. Anderson suggests that this could be a positive sign, though Richards fails to grasp the significance. A tense exchange unfolds as Harold brandishes a pair of pliers, demanding an explanation for Abe's recurrent sketches. Abe clarifies that these sketches depict various memories, including an accident. Alarmed, Harold questions Abe's sanity, prompting Anderson to reveal that it all began with the bees, leading to numerous sketches of their demise. Among these sketches, Harold uncovers an image of himself being electrocuted by the eel, portraying multiple versions of the event across different universes. Abe struggles to explain this phenomenon, sketching and attempting to decipher when and how it will occur. He posits that these occurrences extend beyond them, as two other partners grapple with similar quandaries within Abe and Harold's room. While Harold grapples with the danger posed by the eel, he unknowingly tests it by immersing his hand in the aquarium, receiving an electric shock. In response, Abe retrieves a sack, but finds himself once more drawn to his sketch, depicting a fissure in the darkness. Abe rushes to the porthole to glimpse the outside, but is met with an impenetrable darkness. He then attempts to disentangle a bundle of wires, only to realize that Harold has the pliers. Returning to his partner, he makes a grim discovery, the pliers protruding from Harold's chest. Abe reclaims the tool, returns to the wires, and severs one, triggering unusual sounds and a ship-shaking tremor. Observing the vessel deviating from its course, Abe peers out the porthole as it collides with the darkness, shattering it into fragments and giving way to blinding white light. In a surprising twist, the scene transitions to Abe at home, turning off his TV, indicating he's seen it all before. He ventures into the yard, encountering his wife. A sudden phone call interrupts his domesticity, and Dr. Weatherford informs him that the job he sought has been filled. Perusing a newspaper with two unfamiliar astronauts, a puzzled Abe contemplates what transpired on the ship. Was it all a product of his imagination, or did they genuinely traverse the multiverse?